Hi, I'm Cindy Matalucci with The Pulse, and I'm here with the stunning Mara Hoover. How are you?
Great. So happy to be here.
We're here at the Flying Pig Pub Kitchen, and basically, I want to learn a little bit about you. You're an interesting woman. I heard that you actually have a background in construction and in financial services. That's amazing. Tell me a little bit about that. And now you're an author and a speaker.
Yeah, I started when I was 16 working with my dad in construction, and after college decided that is what I wanted to pursue. And so I had my own general contracting license, still do to this day, and loved building and remodeling houses. And with everything that kind of fell apart in the economy, I kind of had to look around and say, well, what else is out there? Met a wonderful woman that works with a company called 5 Rings Financial, and thought that would be a perfect fit for me. Takes a lot of my skills that I have, and so I just jumped in with 2 feet in June, and I'm loving it. We do amazing Wine, Women, and Wealth events that you can check out on marahoover.com, and just loving the career. So
I love it. Well, you wrote this amazing book, My Grumpy Husband. I love this. How did you get into being an author and a speaker? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I kind of cheated. I went to school for public speaking. That was my college major. I love being in front of an audience, so it was a perfect fit for me. But really, the book, I've always wanted to write a book. Since I was about 5 years old, I decided that by the time I was 30, I was going to hit all 7 continents and write a book. Well,
and you did swim in Antarctica, I heard.
I did, yes. I've made it to Antarctica. I just have to go to Australia and Asia in the next 3 years. But the book is done. That was a really exciting opportunity for me. About this time last year, I decided that I was actually going to write it. And so I went to my husband and I said, hey, honey, I've got this great idea for a book. It's going to be all about you. And I told him the whole concept, and he said, okay, that's perfect. If you're going to write it, you have to call it My Grumpy Husband. And I said, okay, but you realize if I call it My Grumpy Husband, you will be known as the Grumpy Husband. And he said, that's fine. I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
So what was your goal with writing this book? Was it like you were a newlywed and you're like, oh my God, this is marriage? Or what happened what was the goal with this book?
Well, we both have practiced marriages, so we were both married before. And we really realized that there's a lot of things that you aren't told that you actually need to talk about. And so if you aren't prompted to discuss the basics, you can end up fighting a lot more than you really need to. So the idea was to enlighten people, make it a relationship book, but with a really lighthearted feeling instead of being so serious all the time, and give people the ability to laugh, have fun, share their stories, realize that they're not the only one going through what they're going through. And that was just really, really exciting, an exciting opportunity for us. So my husband and I both jumped in, and so far we've actually talked to quite a few couples who have read it and said, wow, this really helps me understand her, or this really helps me understand him. So
sometimes it's nice to hear another couple instead of just you and your husband. It's like you hear their experiences and it makes you feel like, I'm not crazy, I'm not alone.
Exactly. And well, that's why we really wanted people to share their own stories in the book, because they were able to write in and talk about their own experience. And after, men in general have a little bit of an uncomfortable feeling about My Grumpy Husband at first, and they should. But once I explained to them what it's about, I actually had guys say, I want to share my story. So I did have a few men write in for the book, and that was really
exciting. So you had guest speakers, or you had guest writers?
I did. I had 6 contributing authors, and then a number of other people from the community that wrote stories and wanted to share their experiences in marriage. So, yeah.
That's great. And then tell us about the 6 grumpy trigger points. Tell us about that. That's a big aspect of the book.
It is. That's the main foundation of this book. And the idea was that marital satisfaction, especially when you're dealing with men, can be very simple. Men are wonderful creatures, but they are more simple than women. If we tried to write a book about my grumpy wife, it would be about, this thick, and it would have no conclusion at the end. This has a conclusion. The idea is that men are simple, and if they're grumpy, it's probably one of 6 things that all start with S. So we have sleep, sports, space, sex, showers, and snacks.
Oh my God, it totally makes sense.
Yeah, and I actually, believe it or not, I do have some women that say, actually, that sounds more like me. And I say, well, that's perfect. Then it's opening up the conversation, and that was the purpose of the book, is just to have people talk about, what snacks are important. Are you a 3 times a day eater, a 5 times a day eater? What about naps? How many showers do you need? Those kind of basic things that we sometimes don't think about. We think that the way we do it is normal. Then we marry someone else or have a relationship with someone else and forget to ask those basic questions. So
they just have simple needs.
Yes, they do. Yeah, that's the whole basis of the book. So,
well, good. Now I know that you had this cartoon. images of yourself. Tell me about that a little bit.
Well, the guy that I was working with on the book, actually Bruce Fisher, coached me through writing my first book, really helped me connect with the different people that I needed to talk to, and just all of the different resources that a new writer needs. So one of his ideas was, hey, if we can make this lighthearted, why don't we see if we can find a cartoonist who could develop some characters? So they're a little bit themed off of my husband and I, but we wanted them to be very general. We have a very cute little dog who looks just like my dog. So he's a little schnauzer. So that was the idea, was just to kind of lighten it up, have those cartoon characters that are going to go through the book and actually all the way through the book series as well. So it was really neat.
That's right. And so you guys, it's going to be a series. So tell me about that.
So the idea was first build the foundation with this first book, and then come up with a number of different books that will relate to different people in different places in their life. So the next couple of titles that we're collecting stories for are, the first one is My Grumpy Husband, and that is all about ex-husbands, why people get divorced, maybe some stories about, can you believe this guy did this? But more than anything, it's going to be a resource for women who are moving through that stage in their life, having the support and how to be healthy and move on to a new relationship. So I have some really great guest authors that are going to be writing in that book. And then the other one that I'm most excited about is called The Newlywed's Guide to My Grumpy Husband. And that's going to explore seasoned married couples who have been married 20, 30, 40, 50 years and celebrate their marriages, how they've made it work, and have them share all of their tips and tricks to people that are just newly married or getting started in a relationship and need to know some of those basic things that make a marriage last 50, 60, 70 years. So I'm really excited about these amazing couples because there is such a high divorce rate, and I don't think there's much celebration of the people that can actually make it work. So
Yeah, and it's nice to hear good stories about people that have been together for 60 years. It's, you want to hear about that.
Yeah, and everybody has their own way of doing it, and so, just figuring out how people have done it and taking and gleaning that wisdom is going to be really exciting. So that's two of the other titles that are coming up.
Perfect. And then you're also going to be selling some products as well with this line, right?
Yes. We're really excited. The idea is to develop a product line around the concept of I love my grumpy husband. Not only I love My Grumpy Husband, the book series, but I actually love my grumpy husband. So people can have stickers on their cars. I actually have one on my car, and I get so many comments. People just think it's...
Are they beeping?
Oh yeah, they want to know, what in the world does this mean? And so the idea is just to brand a little bit more. I was inspired by Angry Birds. They make a free app on a phone, and then all of a sudden they're selling little plush birds and sweatshirts and all sorts of stuff. So why not do that with our characters, especially our dog? I think he's just so cute. Everyone needs a stuffed dog. So that's the idea.
And then tell us a little bit about your tour. Are you going to be going on a book tour? Do you have anything coming up? Or if people want to buy your book, how do we find this fabulous book?
So I'm working really a lot on locally building the information for the book and the following for the book here in the San Diego area, Southern California. And then I'll be doing a lot of book signings this year, also some speaking engagements, eventually developing women's weekends where they can come and be trained on all 6 S's and have a lot of the actual guest authors that will be coming and sharing with us. So those are some of the things that are coming up. And then once we probably have 4 books ready to release, we'll launch more of a national tour, and that's where we're going to be going around doing a lot of different book signings. But I do know from a few readers that have mailed the books off to New York and Virginia and the East Coast that we do have readers from coast to coast in the U.S., so that's pretty exciting.
That's very exciting. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, and if anyone wants to buy the book, or more importantly, share their story about their personal experience, you can like My Grumpy Husband on Facebook or visit mygrumpyhusband.com. And we would love to have you join in our conversation and just learn more about the grumpy husband phenomenon.
I love it. You got to get this book. I'm ordering one.
Please do.
Well, thank you, Mara. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you. It was great. Thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.